starting with first year, just like that initial, I think everyone looks at that initial like tunnel rush thing, and I wasn't crazy about that. Just because we went into the tent first year at the DoubleTree, and my dad was there, like sort of following, and it was like a little awkward, and I obviously didn't know anyone. But I think for me, first year, my best memory of that was just like how involved everyone got with all of the all of the games and the mandatory fun at night. Like scavenger hunt was crazy. I think that's a benefit of being in a small section, was just like you knew everyone instantly and everyone had to participate, and there was really no way to divide it up. I mean, everybody was in it together. So I think like scav hunt first year, and like bowling night, just feeling like you could impact something right away as a first year was really cool. Obviously, as I got older and up in the years in the band, there's other great memories. I think it was my second year. We played Georgia Tech, and it hadn't rained my first year or any games up to this point, and then it was just like downpour. Like we didn't have enough time to get the rain jackets out because it was just raining for 10 or 15 minutes, and we were just like every stand tune we were just playing like full out because you're just so energized from the rain for whatever reason. And then our kicker made like a impossibly long, like for us, impossibly long, like 40-yard field goal, and everybody was so hype, and we were winning at halftime, and then it stopped raining, and then it went downhill from there. But it was just so fun during that rain. Everybody was just like, this is insane, it's raining so hard, and I mean, anytime you get to play full out, it was like out of tune full out, it was awesome. So that was a great memory. And then obviously, the bowl game was pretty special. There were a lot of great moments from the bowl game. Just really, there was a lot more. The most time you had with your section, just because there's so much downtime involved with all the proceedings. At the 6-hour rehearsal, it felt like. I don't know. I mean, I think it might have been 3, but we didn't. I don't know. That was so like trying to hold everyone together for that, and then at the time in the hotel, and just the time that we all got to spend together, and then you get to meet people from, meet new people from different sections, because it's just such a new environment for everyone. So that was a really cool experience. And then obviously the game and the pregame show in the Georgia Dome, and then on down the line, like singing the good old song out on the loading docks and all that stuff. It was just a really special time. So that's something that I always look to. And then I would say one of my favorite memories were some of the interviews that I had for leadership, and that might be kind of weird, but you got to see a different side of the directors in those times. And the first time I auditioned for drum major, Mr. Cook, I went in to talk to Mr. Cook and Mr. Idzier, and Mr. Cook said, if you gave me a list of 40 people that I would have wanted to try out for drum major, I would have put your name at like 45 or 50. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that was the first time that I tried out for drum major. So I guess I shocked him a little bit there. But then just that whole audition process, and obviously the night that we were at the band building, and Mr. Cook, Mr. Pease, and Mr. Idzier were, grilling us, and then Cabman came in with the sword and told me I was drum major. It was like an incredible night. I mean, I can't really explain that one. It was just I wanted it so badly, and yet I really didn't know what to expect. So that was a pretty incredible night. And then just the countless memories from fourth year of being drum major, and some good, some bad, but some just unbelievably awesome. Band camp is unique in that you can end up in situations. This is gonna sound strange. You end up in situations that you wouldn't ordinarily envision yourself ending up in. I think me and Carlo Basilia and Alice Dahlstream did a rendition of Too Sexy for My Shirt one year. It's either second or third year, and I don't really know how I ended up doing that, playing the lead in that. as a part of the scavenger hunt, I think it was something we had to perform an 80s music video or something like that, or 90s, whenever that song came out. So that was an interesting memory. You just the situations that you end up in that you would never really expect yourself to end up in, whether it's a personality thing or not. But I think we also, the Baritones had a history of doing some pretty polarizing skits. I mean, we did win one year, but and then we might have taken the joke a little bit too far. I'm not going to say that we did or we didn't, but I think just how much people got into the skits was really cool, but then how much people talked about it from other sections, because the Baritones were sometimes like a, you know, cast off section, you know, kind of a joke at sometimes, and you know, Mr. Pease would sometimes, you know, compliment us most when we weren't playing and stuff like that. So it was just like, you know, we had a little bit of a chip on our shoulders, and so to hear people saying, "Man, the baritone skit, that was crazy," or "That was funny," or "That was really whatever," just to hear people talking about the baritones was really awesome. So that was a good memory I have. Other section leaders or other, you know, people in the band coming up to me and being like, "You guys did a great job with the skits." Yeah, that was pretty cool from band camp. And then my fourth year as drum major at band camp, just doing, I keep going back to scavenger hunt. I think that's one of my favorite things that we do for whatever reason. But having things done to me was sort of weird, but then the weirdest part was trying to come up with what should we get them to do to you and different things like that. And I think I was wrapped up like a mummy in toilet paper. So that was, you know, again, something that I didn't think of that one, but I was cool with it. People were bringing me candy, so whatever, it's great. So that was a good time. And then I think from band camp, just it was something Mr. Cook said when I was trying to balance being an RA and being in the band as well. He was just saying, you know, being in the trenches with the guys in your section, the girls in your section, you know, that means the most to them. So being out there and being energetic at 9:30 when you're going through music on the field at 85 degrees already, you know, or, you know, on Thursday night when we're trying to hold it together for the last, you know, evening rehearsal, and just, you know, having the same energy and you know, putting the same amount of effort into it really means the most to people. So, or to the guys in your section, girls in your section. So I think some of the best memories were just like, you know, how good you felt as a section as a whole when you made it through band camp, or you made it through a tough rehearsal. You know, because you don't really get that same time during the season. So you get through a Tuesday night rehearsal and you're like, all right, got to test this steady for it. But for band camp, it is like all band all the time. So, you know, some of those feelings of accomplishment are unmatched at other parts of the season. So that's a pretty cool time too. As far as playing, I enjoyed the first show we did, which is maybe a little cliche, but it was just like the most exciting. We did the most exciting for me because it was, you know, the prospect of, we're going to get all this down and then next week we're going to do something completely different. I can, you know, just put everything into this because I know that it's going to have to be the best it's going to be in a week or whenever band camp's over. And that was the Chuck Mangione, or Mangione, Children of Sanchez, Land of Make Believe, and The Legend of One-Eyed Sailor. There were some really challenging parts, and then there were some parts that you could just play really, really loud, and there were jam parts, and it was just really cool. There's, you know, pretty great drill because it was band camp, so we had a ton of time to work on it. And I just remember playing that. We played Children of Sanchez in the stadium for stadium night during band camp, and we're just like, the sound is bouncing everywhere, and it's just this crazy syncopated, cool song, and you know, I was just loving it. So that was a great show. And then I really liked, it might have been the very next show, the country show that we did the first year. And I like country music, but I, you know, don't always love when marching bands do country music. It's just hard to really match the feel, I guess. But we did Summer Nights by Rascal Flatts, and that was just, it was a good song. I mean, it was fun to do, really easy, so just, again, you could common theme is you could play really loud. That was awesome, and I really enjoyed all the Disney shows that we did. Just the different elements that came into place, whether it was Ivan singing or the drill that we did with those, and they're fun songs, and we got the crowd, student section into it usually. I say usually because the student section isn't always paying attention. And then another one that we played that I really liked was when we did Bohemian Rhapsody, and seeing when we kind of crowded the student section during the rock out portion of that song, and seeing Matt Gilwald up there just doing his best to keep everything going every direction and yet some way keep it together, and did a great job. I wasn't really fixated on him so much as just playing as loud as I could. And then as far as one that I conducted, it was one that I had been begging putting in my leadership application every year. We should do a Billy Joel show. We should do a Billy Joel show. So we finally did a Billy Joel show, and I did Only the Good Die Young, and it was just so much fun. And the team of drum majors that I was with, Cameron Luda, Aurelia Corzan, and Steph Bell, they'll remember the hard two. That was kind of my signature move. I didn't have a ton of signature moves, but I could always do the two. And that song had one that I could take advantage of. So that was a good time. Well, in high school, we didn't do really any visuals. We did our fair share of horn pops, and that was about it. And there was a band in the Roanoke area that always did a dance break, any time in their show. And they were kind of hated by the bands in this area because you knew it was coming. You couldn't even really enjoy their show because you knew, here comes the dance break. Where's the dance break? So I got to the CMB, and their first show, they're like, all right, we're gonna put our horns down for 88 counts here, or 96 counts here, or whatever, and do a dance break. And I was like, no, dude, we're a dance break band. But there was just some of those moves that we did. We did the classic, roll the dice, which was awesome, and obviously, the fallback on the step touch. I'm just trying to name some, because I can't remember a lot of the names. But just doing those dance breaks and kind of breaking out of that hatred for them was pretty nice. As far as the drill sets we did, obviously the stick figures were really cool. I thought that was really neat, and the response from people from that too, because friends that I had that were in the student section or wherever in the stadium, friends of my parents would say, that was a really great show, we enjoyed this song, and they didn't ever really talk about the drill. But after that show, people would say, I'd get emails or texts and say, oh man, that guy caught the football and the stick figure, that was awesome. So I think it was a way that the crowd could really appreciate how difficult all the moves are, because when they see a file or a hard flank by the tuba section, they obviously don't appreciate everything that's going on. But when you really spell it out for people like it was with the stick figures, it was really pretty awesome, and they were able to see how difficult everything is that we do. Yeah. Good appreciation. The one that comes to mind was when we beat Miami. Well, we beat Miami twice at home when I was there. The first game we beat Miami, we knocked out Ja'Cory Harris, and it was 24-0 before anybody knew what was going on. We were like, whoa, we're just gonna blow them out, and then we ended up winning 24-19, kind of backed into it. So that wasn't, that was a good memory because we beat Miami and we weren't supposed to. But I think when we beat Miami my fourth year, and Jake McGee makes this catch on the end line and gets one cleat down in the end zone, then falls out, and it's back and forth, and it was just crazy. That was a pretty special moment and a great game to watch, and just there was so much energy from the crowd, so they really we wanted to feed that as the band, and then as a drum major, feeding the band, feeding the crowd was pretty awesome to be a part of that. And then there was one game that we lost, but it was a really fun game to be a part of when we were down at Duke, I think my second year. It was just back and forth. Rocco threw 3 or 4 interceptions in the first half, and we were this is miserable. I think it was 21-0 at halftime, and the game ended up being 56-48 or something, just like a barn burner. So it was so much fun, and being down there, road trip, down there to play. There's the strong souls make it on those road trips. So it's just a solid group, and being a part of that game where back and forth, and there's not a ton of back and forth with the Duke band, but we made it work.